Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something that separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who start from those who finish, and those who talk about life from those who live it. That something is consistency. And I'm not just talking about showing up sometimes, I'm talking about being so consistent that you become unstoppable. Now listen, life will throw curveballs at you. It will try to knock you off your game. You will face rejection, failure, criticism, and moments when you feel like quitting. But here's the truth: the person who keeps showing up, who refuses to quit, who does the work day in and day out, no matter what, is the person who becomes unstoppable. That's you if you choose it. The first thing I want you to understand is this: success is not a one-time event. It's not about luck or magic. Success is the result of doing the little things consistently. Those tiny, disciplined actions you take every single day, they compound, they stack, and eventually they create results so big that people start calling it talent, luck, or magic. But you know what it really is? Consistency. Second, consistency builds trust. People will believe in you when they see you never back down. They will follow your leadership when they know you always deliver. And more importantly, you will trust yourself. You will know that no matter what happens, you have what it takes to show up and handle life. That self-trust is priceless. Third, consistency transforms habits. You might not feel like running today. You might not feel like writing today. You might not feel like practicing your craft today. But if you push through and do it anyway, day after day, eventually your actions become habits. Habits don't wait for motivation. Habits don't need inspiration. Habits just happen because you've been consistent. And once a habit is locked in, it becomes unstoppable. Fourth, consistency gives you momentum. You start moving in a direction, and even when obstacles try to stop you, the momentum keeps carrying you forward. And here's the kicker: momentum attracts more opportunities. The doors you couldn't open before start opening because you never stopped walking toward them. People notice consistency. Life notices consistency. The universe notices consistency. Fifth, consistency builds resilience. You're going to fail, no doubt about it. You're going to get hurt. You're going to be disappointed. But when you are consistent, failure becomes temporary. A bad day doesn't derail you. A setback doesn't stop you. You just get back up and keep going. Unstoppable people don't avoid failure. They keep moving through it. Finally, consistency multiplies your results. Imagine planting seeds. You water them once, maybe twice, and give up. Nothing grows. But if you water those seeds every day, rain or shine, eventually you have a garden. That garden is your life, your career, your dreams. That's what happens when you are consistent. The work you do today might not show tomorrow, but it will show tenfold in the future. And the best part, once you start seeing results, you can't stop. You've become unstoppable. So, ladies and gentlemen, the choice is yours. Will you show up today, tomorrow, and the next day, no matter what? Will you be so consistent that life has no choice but to notice? Will you become unstoppable? I'm telling you right now you can. You just have to show up. Every single day. That's the power of consistency. That's the key to being unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people don't understand. Success is not about luck, and it's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about showing up consistently day in and day out, even when you don't feel like it. You see, most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they stop too soon. They get discouraged, they hit a bump in the road, and they quit. But the people who make it, the ones who are unstoppable, they understand a simple truth: you don't need to be great today. You just need to show up consistently. Think about the world's most successful people. You think they got there overnight. No, Steve Jobs didn't create the iPhone in one day. Oprah didn't become a media queen overnight. LeBron James didn't become the king of basketball overnight. Every one of them showed up day after day, putting in the work when nobody was watching. They practiced when it was hard. They kept going when it was boring. They did the work when they had every reason to quit. And that is exactly what consistency is. It's the habit of showing up, not because it's easy, but because you've decided that quitting is not an option. Now, I know what you're thinking. Steve, what if I don't see results immediately? I hear you, I've been there too. You can work and work and work, and it feels like nothing is happening. You send out resumes, you pitch your ideas, you practice your craft, and sometimes the world just ignores you. But here's the thing, every single action you take is planting a seed. It may not bloom tomorrow, it may not bloom next week, but keep watering it, keep showing up, and eventually that seed will grow into a tree that bears fruit beyond your imagination. Consistency is the secret fertilizer that makes your efforts grow. Let me give you a real-life example. When I started my career, I was doing stand-up comedy in small clubs. I was bombing more than I was winning. People laughed at me, ignored me, even told me I would never make it. But I didn't quit. I got on stage night after night, learning my craft, refining my jokes, studying the greats who came before me. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy. But every time I showed up, every night I got back on that stage, I was stacking small wins on top of each other. And eventually, those small wins became big wins. Eventually, people noticed. Eventually, I became unstoppable. And the only reason I got there was consistency. Consistency also builds confidence, and confidence breeds action. When you know that you have shown up, even when it was hard, you start trusting yourself. You start believing that you are capable. And when you believe, doors start opening. Opportunities come your way because the universe recognizes the person who never quits. People want to work with someone who is reliable, someone who can be counted on. That's the power of being consistent. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. So, ladies and gentlemen, stop waiting for motivation to hit. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start showing up today and tomorrow and the next day. Be consistent with your goals, your work, your craft, your dreams. Don't worry about what others are doing. Don't compare yourself. Focus on your path and show up again and again. Because when you do, you're not just working towards success. You're building an unstoppable force that nothing and no one can stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about something that most people overlook when they chase success, and that is trust. Not just the trust of others, but the trust you build in yourself and the trust people place in you because of your consistency. You see, consistency isn't just about showing up for your goals. It's about showing up for people, showing up for your promises, and showing up in a way that proves you are reliable day in and day out. When you are consistent, people notice. They start to believe in you, they start to follow you, and they start to invest their time and energy in you. Think about it. In life, people want to do business, collaborate, and build relationships with someone they can count on. Nobody wants to rely on someone who's unpredictable, who shows up when it's convenient or disappears when it's hard. But when you show up consistently, even when nobody is watching, you are building an invisible bond with the people around you. They begin to trust that when you say you'll do something, you'll do it. They trust that when times get tough, you won't run. They trust that your word is your bond. And in life, trust is everything. Without it, doors stay closed. With it, doors open, opportunities come, and partnerships flourish. Consistency also builds self-trust, which is even more important. There are going to be moments when nobody believes in you, when nobody sees your potential, when nobody applauds your efforts. But when you have consistently shown up for yourself, you know your own worth. You know that you are capable of doing the work, even when the world doubts you. That kind of self-trust is priceless because it gives you the courage to keep going when it would be easier to quit. You start believing that no matter what, you have what it takes to handle life. And when you believe in yourself like that, you become unstoppable. Let me tell you a story. When I first started in entertainment, I had nobody in my corner. I was broke, sleeping on couches, making jokes in small clubs to empty rooms. Nobody trusted that I would make it. I didn't have fans, I didn't have a network, and I certainly didn't have a safety net. But I showed up anyway. I kept going back on stage night after night, working on my craft, learning from every mistake. I was consistent, and slowly, people started to notice. Club owners began trusting me to draw a crowd. My peers began trusting that I was serious. And eventually, audiences began trusting me to entertain them. That trust was built one consistent action at a time, and it became the foundation of everything that followed. Consistency doesn't just build trust with people, it builds credibility. It tells the world that you are serious about your goals, serious about your craft, and serious about your commitments. And credibility attracts opportunity. People want to invest in someone they can count on. They want to collaborate with someone who doesn't give up halfway. And most importantly, they want to learn from someone who consistently produces results, day after day, no matter the circumstances. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to become unstoppable, you have to be consistent not just with your work, but with your integrity. Show up, deliver, and follow through. Be the person people can trust, not just with promises, but with their time, energy, and dreams. Because consistency doesn't just create results, it creates trust. And once trust is established, there is no stopping the momentum that comes with it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a moment to talk about something that most people underestimate, and that is habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They are the things you do automatically, the routines that shape your days, and ultimately the person you become. And here's the key: consistency is what transforms ordinary actions into powerful habits. You see, showing up once or twice is not enough. Doing something sporadically won't change your life. But when you do something consistently over time, it becomes a habit, and that habit can take you places you never imagined. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every day wondering if you should brush or not. You do it because it's a habit. That habit keeps your teeth healthy. That habit didn't appear overnight. You built it over time by doing it consistently. Now, imagine applying that same principle to your work, your dreams, and your goals. If you practice your craft every single day, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's boring, eventually it becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit, it no longer relies on motivation. It no longer relies on inspiration. It becomes a part of who you are. I want to be honest with you, forming habits is not glamorous. At first, it's hard. At first, it's uncomfortable. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to skip the workout, skip the writing, skip the practice. But here's the thing: the moment you push through and do it anyway, you are building your character and your habit at the same time. You are telling yourself that you are someone who follows through. You are someone who shows up no matter what. That's how unstoppable people are made, not by occasional bursts of effort, but by relentless, consistent action that eventually turns into habit. Let me give you a story. When I was starting in comedy, I didn't feel like practicing every day. I didn't always feel like writing new material or performing in front of an empty room. But I made it a habit. Every day I wrote something, even if it was small. Every day I practiced my timing, my jokes, my delivery. Some days it was painful. Some days I failed miserably. But I showed up anyway, day after day. Eventually, what had started as forced effort became second nature. Performing, writing, and thinking like a professional comedian became a habit. And that habit transformed my life. It made me unstoppable because the work no longer felt like work. It was just who I was. Habits are also powerful because they create momentum. Once you have the habit of showing up, it starts affecting other areas of your life. You start waking up earlier. You start managing your time better. You start taking better care of yourself. That's the compounding effect of consistency turning into habit. One small habit leads to another, and before you know it, you have a lifestyle built on positive, unstoppable actions. And that's exactly how you achieve extraordinary results. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't underestimate the power of doing small things consistently. Don't think that missing a day or two won't matter. Every day counts. Every action stacks. Every repetition shapes your habits and ultimately shapes your future. Consistency is the bridge between effort and habit is the engine that drives unstoppable success. When you make showing up a habit, nothing and nobody can stand in your way. That is the power of consistency transforming your life one habit at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life, and the only way to create it is through consistency. You see, momentum doesn't happen by accident. You don't wake up one day and suddenly have everything going your way. Momentum is built one small action at a time, day after day, until suddenly the weight of your effort starts pushing you forward faster than you ever imagined. That's why consistency is so important. It's the engine that creates unstoppable momentum. Think about a car. When it's parked, it's not going anywhere. It takes effort to get it moving. You have to turn the key, push the pedal, and start driving. At first, it might feel slow, it might feel hard, but once the car gets moving, it gains speed and it becomes easier to drive. That's momentum. And life works the same way. The more consistently you show up, the more you keep putting in the work, the faster and stronger your momentum grows. And once you have it, it becomes almost unstoppable. Obstacles still come, setbacks still happen, but your momentum carries you through them. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Steve, I've tried before and I can't seem to get moving. I get it. We all have. There were times in my life when I felt like I was stuck in the mud, trying to get ahead, but nothing seemed to work. But here's the thing, momentum doesn't care about your past. Momentum cares about your present and your commitment to consistency. Every small action you take today adds a little more speed, a little more force to your life. It might not feel like it now, but if you don't quit, if you keep going, that momentum will catch up to you, and it will carry you farther than you ever imagined. Let me give you an example. When I started in comedy, I was performing in tiny clubs, sometimes to just a handful of people. The pay was small, the conditions were tough, and most nights I felt like giving up. But I showed up anyway, night after night, performing, learning, adjusting, improving. At first, the progress was slow, almost invisible. But because I was consistent, momentum started to build. Doors opened, audiences grew, people started noticing my work, and opportunities multiplied. What seemed impossible in the beginning became inevitable because momentum was on my side. Momentum also changes the way the world interacts with you. When you are consistent, other people start to notice your movement. They see someone who doesn't quit, who doesn't stop, who keeps going no matter what. And when they see that, they want to be a part of your momentum. Doors open, partnerships happen, opportunities appear that would never have existed if you hadn't been consistent in the first place. Momentum attracts more momentum. It's a force that compounds, like interest in a bank account. And the best part, once you start moving, it becomes harder for life to stop you. Here's the truth. Consistency is the secret weapon of unstoppable people. It's what separates those who sit and dream from those who move and achieve. Consistency may feel small, invisible, even boring at first, but every small action stacks, every step builds speed, and before you know it, you are moving faster than life can try to slow you down. That is the power of momentum. That is the power of being consistent. Keep showing up, keep pushing, keep taking action, and soon, nothing will be able to stand in your way. You will be moving forward with unstoppable force, and life will have no choice but to notice. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something important about life. It is not going to be easy. You will face failures, setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like giving up. That is inevitable. But here's the thing that most people don't understand. It's not the failures that define you. It's how you respond to them. And the only way to respond effectively is by being consistent. Consistency builds resilience, and resilience is what makes people unstoppable. Think about it. When you show up every day, even when life knocks you down, you are training yourself to handle adversity. Every challenge you face, every setback you overcome, becomes a building block for your strength. You start realizing that failure is not the end of the road. It's just part of the journey. Consistency teaches you that no matter what happens, you have the ability to keep going. And once you internalize that lesson, you become nearly invincible because nothing can stop a person who refuses to quit. Let me be clear, resilience is not something you're born with. It is built over time through repeated action. Imagine trying to lift a weight. You start with a small dumbbell and it feels heavy. You struggle, your muscles ache, and you think about giving up. But you keep lifting it day after day, gradually increasing the weight. Eventually that weight feels light, and you are capable of lifting far more than you ever thought possible. That's exactly how consistency builds resilience in life. Every time you push through, every time you refuse to quit, you strengthen your inner muscles. You become capable of handling more, enduring more, and achieving more than you ever thought possible. Let me give you a personal example. When I was starting out in comedy, I faced rejection after rejection. I bombed on stage in front of empty rooms. People laughed at my dreams, dismissed my efforts, and questioned my ability. But I showed up anyway. Day after day, I wrote jokes, I performed, I studied, I learned, I improved. Every failure was like lifting that heavy weight I just talked about. Every rejection, every embarrassing moment made me stronger. And over time, I developed a resilience that carried me through the toughest moments of my career. That resilience didn't come from talent, it came from consistency. Resilience also gives you confidence. When you know you can handle setbacks, when you know you can keep showing up no matter how hard life gets, you stop fearing failure. You stop letting obstacles control you. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. Instead, you move forward with courage, knowing that even if things get tough, you have the strength to endure and the determination to keep going. That is the kind of unstoppable mindset that changes everything. Here's the truth: life will try to break you, and it will test you in ways you never expected. But if you are consistent, if you keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep taking action, then no setback can hold you down for long. Each challenge you face becomes fuel. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, and each failure becomes a lesson that propels you forward. Consistency is what turns ordinary people into resilient, unstoppable forces who can handle whatever life throws at them. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand this: the world is going to test you, push you, and challenge you. But your ability to stay consistent, to show up no matter what, is what will make you resilient. And resilience is what separates the people who give up from the people who achieve greatness. Keep showing up, keep moving forward, and no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will rise stronger, tougher, and unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about the power of multiplying results. Most people think that success comes from doing one big thing, one perfect action, one lucky break. But that's not how life works. Real success comes from consistent action. Every small effort you put in, every little step you take, adds up over time. And when you keep showing up, those efforts don't just add, they multiply. Consistency doesn't just create progress, it compounds your results, and that is what makes you unstoppable. Think about it like this. If you save $10 a day, after 1 week you have $70. After a month, you have $300. After a year, you have $3,600. That's the power of consistency. One small action, repeated daily, creates a result far greater than the effort itself. And the same principle applies to your life, your work, your goals, and your dreams. Every time you take consistent action, every time you do the work, even when it feels small or insignificant, it is stacking, it is multiplying, it is building the foundation for extraordinary results. Let me give you an example. When I first started in comedy, I didn't have big stages, fancy contracts, or millions of fans. What I did have was consistency. I wrote jokes every day, I practiced my timing every day, I performed whenever I could. Some days it was just a few minutes. Some nights it was in front of a handful of people. But every action, every effort, every moment of showing up multiplied over time. Opportunities started appearing that I couldn't have imagined at the beginning. Doors opened, audiences grew, networks noticed, and contracts came. What looked like small, ordinary effort at first had multiplied into an unstoppable career. Consistency also multiplies your learning. Every time you show up and take action, you learn something new. You learn what works, what doesn't work, how to improve, how to adjust, how to get better. And those lessons compound. A mistake today becomes wisdom tomorrow. A failure today becomes a strategy for success in the future. And the more consistent you are, the faster you learn, and the faster your results multiply. Knowledge and experience are not static. They grow exponentially with consistency. Here's the truth: the world rewards those who show up. It rewards persistence. It rewards people who are willing to take small actions consistently while everyone else is waiting for a miracle or a shortcut. Most people quit too soon because they don't see immediate results. But consistency is patient. It doesn't rush, it doesn't panic, it doesn't stop. And because of that, the results it produces are exponential. The person who shows up every day doesn't just progress, they multiply their impact, their influence, and their achievements beyond measure. Consistency also multiplies confidence and credibility. Every time you follow through, every time you honor your commitments, Every time you take action when others won't, people notice. They begin to see you as someone reliable, someone capable, someone unstoppable. And as your reputation grows, so do your opportunities. That is how results multiply in ways you cannot predict. What starts as a small effort becomes a tidal wave of progress, opportunities, and influence. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand this: the key to multiplying results is simple. Show up, do the work. Keep going even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when nobody is watching. Because every action, every effort, every moment of consistency is compounding, stacking, and multiplying. And before you know it, the life you imagined, the success you dreamed of, and the impact you long to make will become unstoppable. Consistency doesn't just move you forward, it multiplies your results and makes you a force that nothing can stop.